Welcome to the Art of Extraordinary Confidence Summit. I am so excited to be with you here today. We have so many great interviews lined up, and today is a kickoff video where you're going to learn the 3 biggest insights that I've gained from studying confidence for 15 years now. And these 3 are game changers. When you learn these and when you get these, the way you see the world, the way you see yourself, and the way you see confidence transforms. And that gives you so much power to move forward faster. So I wanted to share these before we get into all these interviews because you're going to learn so much great stuff. And I wanted to orient you to maximize your confidence, to get the most out of this. In fact, that's what we're going to get into in the second part of this video is the 4 ways to get the most out of this summit. So it's not just some stuff that you kind of watch a little bit here and there, but how to actually use this as a life-shifting experience, as an event that changes the course of your life. Now that might sound dramatic, changes the course of your life, but actually if you think about it, if you're watching one of these videos and the person I'm interviewing says one thing that shifts the way you approach in your relationship, for example, your romantic relationship, or changes an action that you take, or you make a decision as you're watching a video and you say, you know what? I am going to go face that fear that I've been avoiding. And I'm going to use this tool that I just learned to get myself to be able to do that. And if you did that, that's going to set you on a different course. And if you stay on that course, 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, you are in a completely different place. And that's my goal. That's the purpose behind this summit. I want you to be able to use this to transform your life. So we're going to get into the 4 key ways to get the most out of it. So let's dive in. First things first, I think that you're here for a reason. You know, there's a reason why you clicked and signed up and registered and are actually watching this and showing up. And that's because on some level, you are either struggling, like you want to feel more confident, but you feel doubt or fear more than you would like. And maybe you show it to other people, maybe they see it, but maybe not. You know, a lot of us get really good at having a good facade, a good persona. Hey, I'm doing great. How are you doing? I'm doing great. Yeah. But inside, we're like, I'm a fraud. What do they think of me? Oh, is that good enough? Oh, I'm a failure. Right? We have this up and down roller coaster of emotion journey that we keep usually hidden inside. So maybe you're in that place. Or maybe, you know what, you are feeling pretty good. You are feeling pretty confident. But you know that if you turn up confidence in any area of life, you get better results. Because you feel better, you're more resilient, you're more motivated, you're more energized, and you take more bold, decisive action. And maybe you want to do that. And of course, when you do that, the bold, continuous, decisive action that you take is going to get to better results, and you're going to be able to achieve what you want in your dating life, in your business, that sort of thing. So let's talk about the 3 insights of confidence, though, that are going to help you take in all the information you're going to learn and actually be able to use it. And this one is a requirement. You have to really you have to get this one before you can do anything else. And I didn't get this for years. It took me a long time to learn this one. And because, I don't know if you know much about my story, but I started with, the reason I'm obsessed with this is because I started with such small amount of confidence. I have people ask me that semi-regularly. You know, what do you do? And I tell them, oh yeah, I teach and train and help people with confidence. Oh, sometimes I get the, oh, neat. I'm already a little uncomfortable now. We're talking about something real. But sometimes people say, oh, interesting, like why that topic? And one of the most common answers I share is, well, because I started with so little myself. And that's where I spent almost a decade of my life, is with extremely low confidence, you know, social anxiety disorder level of confidence, where I was extremely limited in my life and couldn't make eye contact with people, would not be able to get me in front of a camera in a million years to do something like this, not even put myself out there in any way, even with a group of like 4 people. Unless it was like I had 2 or 3 at different times in my life, close friends. I was comfortable with them. But still, even there was tons of comparison to them. Oh, he's taller than I am. Oh, he gets a date and I don't, right? And so there was this low self-esteem there. But going out into the broader world, meeting new people, putting myself out there, speaking in groups, speaking in public, approaching and asking women out to date, all of that was just completely 100% off limits. And the way I dealt with that was by living in a fantasy that said, oh, it'll all get better later. Oh, it started in middle school. When I get to high school, it'll be different. And then when I was in high school, when I get to college, it'll be different. And then when I was in college, it'll be like, oh, when I graduate, it'll be, oh, no, it's not going to be any different. It's just going to keep sucking. And it was my final year of college when I was, 21 years old, 2021, where I was like, I have to do something. And that leverage point happens like it does for most of us. And maybe you're at that leverage point right now where it comes from pain, massive pain. Like another question people ask me is like, well, what was the turning point for you? Why did you do it? An intense amount of pain, that's what. And it was a combination of like attempting to put myself out there and getting rejected, and then also looking at my future when I saw it just seemed so dismal. And I was like, it kind of culminated one night where it was like this snap inside where it was like, I have to do something. And I used to play a ton of video games to get away from, my life. And I turned off a video game. I was like, I'm going to do something different. And that was a turning point in my life. So then I started to study and I started to pay attention. I started to read books on confidence. I started to watch programs, listen to audio trainings. And soon in the process, I discovered something that transformed the course of my life. And that's that first insight, which is confidence is a skill. Confidence is a skill. I always thought that it was just something that people had or didn't. And that's a common misconception. It's a myth in our culture. Oh, that person is confident. And we don't consciously think this, but we sort of assume, oh, they've always been that way. And we assume, oh, I'm always this way. And I can't be like that. Oh, they're somehow different. That person who's very confident in a business setting or very confident in their relationships and how they, socially interact with people. We assume that's just them. But the truth is that confidence is a skill that can be learned. And it can be learned like any other skill. And that's why I'm so excited about this summit. Because how do we learn any skill? What's a skill that you are good at, that you know that you can do pretty well? Maybe you're not the best in the world, but you're decent at it. Now, how did you learn that skill? Usually it goes something like this. We learn something from someone, we watch them, we talk to them, we read something, we take in some information, we learn something, and then what? Learning something is not enough. It's the first part, but then what? Then we do it. That's right, we learn and then we do. We learn and we do. Same thing. Someone's like, hey, this is how you ride a bike. You get up here, you do this, this, and this. And you're like, great, I got it. And you fall off, right? At least when you take the training wheels off. So you learn and then you do. You learn and then you do. And that's the same thing with confidence. The reason I'm laughing is because just recently, my son Zaim, we got him on a little tricycle. And he got on the tricycle. And it was the first time he could actually pedal it. And as he was pedaling down the driveway, he goes, bicycle, bicycle, bicycle. And he just kept on saying that. It was absolutely adorable. So that's why I'm smiling. In any case, he's learning that skill just like you can learn the skill of confidence. So anything else that's in your mind right now that says, oh, I can't, or they're different than me, let's just let that go right now. You can learn this. I have learned this and I'm continuing to learn it. And you're going to learn in these interviews, like, how do we learn this? That's one of the biggest questions I ask. Did you start this way? You'll hear me ask that multiple times to different people. Were you always this confident? And guess what they do? They laugh because the answer is no. They learned it like anyone else, like you and like me. So that's the first one. Confidence is a skill, and it starts by learning and then applying. The second key confidence insight, this one's fascinating. Confidence is a byproduct. Confidence is a byproduct. What is it a byproduct of? You might know. It's a byproduct of action. Confidence is a byproduct of action. So we generally have the sequence wrong. We say, okay, I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling nervous, I'm feeling afraid, and maybe you're hesitating, you're holding back, you're doubting yourself in any endeavor, in anything, business, personal, relationships, whatever. I'm holding back. I'm going to get more confident. When I'm more confident, when I feel more certain, when I feel more sure, when I know more things, when I have a better idea, when I'm ready, then I'll do it. And that is the complete opposite sequence of how it works, because you won't. You'll never do it. Or it'll be minimal, half-hearted, half-assed attempts. Because the truth is that the confidence is not the prerequisite. It doesn't come first. It's the byproduct of taking that action. So the more you can get into action, the more confidence you will have. It comes out. It comes out the tailpipe. It doesn't go in first. Does that make sense? So we have to get into action. And you're going to learn all about how to do that. And I'm also a big believer in gradual exposure. So if something's too intense, we'll start small. but you got into some action. And confidence is a byproduct. So remember that when you start learning these things in these videos, you're going to have to apply it. You're going to get into action for you to start to see the results. We all want to just like sit down and put a hypnosis in and be like, I'm permanently confident. And you know what? Hypnosis is powerful. I use it with my clients. I even have some bonus programs with some of my training products that use hypnosis because it's powerful. But it only is powerful enough to get you to go take the action. You can't just have the hypnosis and do nothing and have sustained, lasting confidence to be able to go do cool stuff in the world, build the relationships you want, create the love that you want, build the business that you want, earn the money that you want. That takes action, and that takes being able to build that confidence through that action. So that's the second confidence insight. The third confidence insight, and this one is huge, is confidence requires self-compassion. Confidence requires self-compassion. You may or may not have been expecting that one, but it is absolutely true. Anyone that works with me, is in my mastermind or anything, we spend a lot of time on how are you relating to you, because that's the whole thing. It's an inner game. And without self-compassion, you can think of self-compassion as treating yourself well, with respect, with love, with understanding. It's the opposite of being pissed off, impatient, and always, berating yourself for not being enough. That's the opposite. So if you want to get an understanding of self-compassion, think of all that stuff, and think the opposite. Think of how you treat someone that you love or one of your kids. That's how we use self-compassion, and that's how it's part of confidence. Because here's the thing. You could be taking action. You could be doing great stuff, and I've seen this a lot. People are outwardly successful, but they're inwardly what? Miserable. They have a lot of money. They have people that love them. They have a spouse that thinks they're amazing. They're respected. And how do they feel? I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. And if you explore why, it's like, well, I didn't achieve that. And they have these perfectionistic standards, or they don't even know why. They're just like, I need to do more. I need to do more. And every time they do something, like, that was okay, but it could have been better. Or they make a mistake and they're like, stupid. What's wrong with me? And that maybe they don't do that at work, but they do that in their dating life. Or maybe they don't do that in their relationship, but they're afraid to speak up at work. So wherever it shows up, we have to find it, and we have to make a fundamental shift about how we relate to ourselves. So while we might be focused on, I got to be powerful, I got to be confident, I got to take risks, I got to take action, and that is one side of the coin or of the one piece of the puzzle, the other side is self-compassion. And because, look, taking risks, doing things you've never done before, getting outside your comfort zone, that's scary. That's uncomfortable. That's why it's called the comfort zone, because we're going to get uncomfortable if we go out of it. And we have to have this flip side of self-compassion, of being able to be calming and soothing and loving with ourselves, or else it's like all drive and no heart. And we need that heart because that's what calms our nervous system, and that's what creates a sense of safety and love and comfort and peace, which then gives us even more fuel to go out there and be confident. Does that make sense? So that's another core piece that I've learned from doing this for so many years, and I found that most people, myself included, are not masters of self-compassion. And I've been studying it and practicing it for a long time, and I still have a long way to go. And people that have never come across this, or maybe thought about it once or twice, but never really made a study of it, really need to figure some of this stuff out. And that's why I'm excited in these interviews. You're going to see that again and again. How do these people treat themselves? How do they talk to themselves? What do they do when they fail or have a setback? Notice and see how self-compassion is infused in the work that they do and how they show up in the world. So those are the three biggest confidence insights. You can go with those, you can study more about those, and you can just maybe write them down, put them somewhere where you see them, because it will help inspire you to make the shifts to get the most, not just out of the summit, but in your life. But speaking of the summit, let's talk about how to get the most out of these extremely valuable interviews. Some of these people are amazing. They've been studying and practicing and learning this stuff much longer than me. It's 15 years for me. Some of them, it's been decade after decade after decade, and they're truly masters of their area. So I can't wait to share them with you. But the first is get clear on what you want, because there's a lot of stuff in here. There's different core areas, and maybe it's all of them for you, but you really got to get clear on what exactly do I want? What do I want to shift? What is it? Is it for me? Is it business confidence? So I want more confidence in my business to show up. And even that's pretty vague. More business confidence. Well, what does that mean? Confidence in sales, confidence in leading a team, confidence in networking and putting yourself out there, confidence in asking for things and getting rejected, confidence in being promoted or being seen at a bigger level, to attract the clients and customers that you want. So what is it if I had 150, 200%, 500% more confidence? What would I want? What would I do? What would I use? Remember, confidence is a vehicle. It helps you go do stuff in the world, helps you feel good, but then you can go be more of who you are and do more of what you want. And it doesn't just have to be in business. It could be in your personal life, your social life. I mean, I created the Center for Social Confidence. So for me, our ability, and everything is social. Your business interactions are social, especially the higher up you get in terms of managing people and teams. Your social life, obviously social, and your dating and relationships, obviously a huge component of how you relate. So whatever it is for you, maybe you want a relationship. Maybe you're single and you want to be able to date. Maybe you're with someone and you want to actually have a deeper, more powerful, extraordinary relationship. You're definitely going to want to check out the third module if that's your situation. So find out what you want. That's the first step, is get clear. So don't just kind of take this passively, like I'll just take whatever comes. Be like, here's what I want. Let me be listening for that and watching for that as I study these interviews. The second thing is get honest with yourself. Because remember I talked about earlier in this video, we all have a practiced facade of, I got everything, everything's together. Everything makes sense to me. The world is totally predictable and I'm totally in charge. Never mind that I'm on a planet spinning in the middle of outer space and no one really understands the fundamental nature of human existence. And I'm all upset with my kids and I don't know what's going on over here and I feel stressed about money and work and oh my God, I'm freaked out. But everything's together on the outside, right? So that's okay. I'm not saying you have to go just share everything with everybody. Maybe it is good to have some boundaries and some privacy here and there. But you got to be honest with yourself. So be honest, like, where am I lacking confidence? And sometimes we have this like, no, not me. I'm not a loser. Look, everyone could use more confidence. Everyone feels some form of fear or doubt or anxiety in some area of their life. It does not matter. They could be the best NBA player in the world and put them in the room with their spouse, and in 3 minutes they're feel like the smallest, most inadequate person in the world, right? If they're having a challenge or something gets triggered, right? And the same is true in any different scenario. So everyone's got some point where they feel doubt, insecure, and lack of confidence. We got to be honest with ourselves and to see when that's happening, right? Or if you're like, no, I'm happy with my life. I'm happy. Everything's great, right? Well, is it? Just be honest with yourself right now as you think about this. Yeah, it is really good in my relationship, but I don't like that we can't talk about blank. We can't talk about our love life. We can't talk about our sex life very well. It seems like we get into fights. I mean, everything else is great, but that kind of hurts. Well, maybe that's what you want to look at, right? So where do I need confidence? Where could I benefit from confidence? Be honest with yourself. The third way to get the most out of the summit, and this one's huge, is to decide and commit. Decide and commit. Because here's the thing. The barrier to entry to get into the summit is very low. It's your name and your email. Pretty minimal, right? And you can unsubscribe. So there's really no commitment there, except for the commitment that you make. And the reason I'm doing that is because I don't want to charge for the summit, because I want you to get the most out of it. I want the most people to be able to access it. And I want it to be a service in the world and to influence and shift people. So it's free. And that's good and bad, because anything that's free, how much do we value it? How much do we commit to something? And you can see this too. Maybe how many books have you bought? And those aren't even free, but those are $5, $7, $10, $12, right? How many books have you bought that you've never even read? Did you know there are several books there that I haven't read yet? But I will, I promise. I'm going to read them all, right? So we do that. Now, what about, of course, then there's the thing that you invested. Have you ever bought something or you invested like $2,000 in it? Or I've done some coaching programs that were almost $50,000 for a year in a mastermind. Guess how much I showed up when I was in that program? I was at every single meeting and every single call and doing everything, right? So we can create that now. It's just about deciding and committing. So I want you to decide and commit right now that you're going to get the most out of this summit. And for you, what I would suggest, that would be blocking off the time that you're going to watch these videos and actually taking notes as you write, right? Because you could have it on in the background, and that's okay. Maybe your life's full, you got it on while you're doing the dishes. That's fine, that's great. But if you can really sit down and take notes as you do this, the level of shift that you're going to experience is much greater. So deciding and committing right now, like, I'm going to use this training to transform my life. And that's going to have a much different effect for years to come than passively watching a video here and there. Does that make sense? Okay, and the last and the fourth thing, and this one's huge. Remember I talked about confidence as a byproduct? Byproduct of what? Taking action. So take action after each interview, take action that day. Or if you're watching it, that nighttime, the next morning, the next afternoon, take action that day. Because you get, oh wow, it's going to be great. And sometimes the action is just a technique or a tool that this person teaches. And it's not going out there and kicking ass and taking names and doing something scary. It's just like, hey, here's a different way of dealing with fear. It's an internal tool. Use it. So the next day or that night, just close your eyes for a few minutes and experiment with it. Use the tool. Or, maybe it is a bolder action in the world, but whatever it is for you, it's got to be something. And you'll know. Set the dial. If you're crazy, you can set the dial to 100 out of 100, most scary thing you can do. But for most of us, stuff in the 30, 40 range, where it's like, oh, that's a little uncomfortable, but you do it, that's all it takes. Incremental progress trumps, big gains and dramatic shifts any day of the week. Because the truth is the incremental thing, that 5% stretch, you can sustain that for months or years. The huge leap, geez, how many times can you do that before you burn out and go crazy, right? So we got to do that incremental progress. So take action at the end of the day or once a day or after you watch that video, put it into practice, put it into your life. So those are the 4 keys to get the most out of this program. And we're going to be starting tomorrow bright and early. I'll be sending you the interview, so you're going to want to check that out. It is with my friend Sean Stevenson, who is an amazing and incredibly inspiring guy. And I've known him for a while and interact with him through other people. But this was the first time that I actually got a chance to sit down and really go 100% into confidence and ask him everything I wanted to ask him. And it was awesome. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. And until we speak then, may you have the courage to be who you are and to know on a deep level that you're awesome.